Look, don't shoot me, I'm just a messenger. Now, most of us spend our entire life chasing what? Money, success, and personal pleasure, only to end up stressed, broken, and full of regret. But the Bible says there's something far more valuable than all that combined. And Proverbs 3, verse 13 through 15 tells us exactly what it is and why ignoring it could be costly. Alright, before we start the message, I do have a public service announcement for the people who only believe in the Old Testament. Now, the Proverbs was written primarily by King Solomon. This was one of the richest and wisest men in history. And I say that because if you can't believe the New Testament, when a man who had all the money, all the power, women, influence, and success says that wisdom is more valuable than gold and silver, I think we should listen. Alright, let's turn to Proverbs 3, verse 13 and 15 so we can get a better understanding. And it says, "Joyful is the person who finds wisdom, the one who gains understanding. For wisdom is more profitable than silver, and her wages are more valuable than gold. Wisdom is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare to her." Let's break it down. Alright, now the concept of verse 13 is that wisdom produces true happiness. Now, this word joy doesn't mean excitement or hype just at the moment. It actually means you still feel whole, stable, and blessed through your circumstances, through any circumstances you go through. Now, I want you to notice it says wisdom is found. It's not inherited, it's not forced, or it's not automatic. Now, this may be the hardest thing in life because you have to seek it, you have to value it, then you have to submit to it. Now, understanding means knowing how wisdom applies to real life, whether that be relationships, money, decisions, or even emotions. Because the truth is, happiness is a byproduct of wise living, not emotional pleasure. Alright, let's take a look at verse 14. The concept here is wisdom will always outperform money. It says, "Wisdom is more profitable than silver, and its wages is better than gold." Now, if you notice, Solomon is using business language such as merchandise and gain, silver and gold. And what he is saying is that wisdom has a better return on investment than money does. You see, money can be spent and lost, stolen, or misused. But wisdom, on the other hand, will protect you from bad choices, guide your spending, and protect your peace. You see, the truth is, money without wisdom will only magnify your desires and multiply your problems. Look at the entertainment industry. Now, let's look at verse 15, where the whole concept is saying wisdom is unmatched with anything. Where it says wisdom is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare to her. Now, saying this right here, Solomon was saying something very radical because it's saying not success, not relationships, not pleasure or influence. Now, why would he say something so profound? Because the truth is, desire without wisdom, it only leads to regret. Speaking of wisdom, we've been using that word a lot. Let's talk about exactly what wisdom is. Well, wisdom is knowing what is right, choosing to do what is right at the right time for the right reason. If you look at Proverbs 9 verse 10, it says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom." This means wisdom starts with having reverence for God, not just intelligence. You see, wisdom is not just knowledge, because knowledge knows facts, but wisdom knows how to use them. Wisdom is not just intelligence, because you can be smart and still make the dumbest decisions. And wisdom is not just experience, because experience without reflection doesn't always produce wisdom. Now, in order to have wisdom, there's 4 things you must combine, and that's truth, discernment, humility, and obedience. Alright, let me give you a couple practical examples of wisdom. Now, when we talk about relationships, being able to walk away from drama instead of feeding it. Now, when we talk about finances, saving and investing instead of flexing and overspending. Now, when we talk about speech, that's knowing when to speak and when to be silent. When we talk about wisdom and temptation, this means choosing discipline, keyword choosing discipline, over momentary pleasure. And using wisdom in conflict is responding calmly instead of reacting emotionally. So, in a one sentence summary, wisdom is living skillfully in God's truth, not your feelings. Now, at Barbershop Talk, we always dig deeper than the surface. So, we're going to talk about wisdom versus intelligence now. That's right, wisdom versus intelligence. You see, you can still have knowledge and lack wisdom. Knowledge tells you what, but wisdom tells you when, why, and whether you should. That's why people know smoking is bad. Still smoke. That's why people know cheating will ruin relationships. People still cheat. People even know debt is dangerous. But sometimes we still overspend. Now, I want you to picture two men with money. One flexes, new clothes, new phone, nightlife every weekend. Now the other saves, builds, invests, and says no to any distractions. Now in short term, the first person looks happier, but in long term, the second person sleeps in peace. And that's what wisdom is, thinking past the moment. Now let's talk about what wisdom produces. Now, wisdom protects you from regret. Wisdom helps you control emotions. Wisdom saves you from having to learn everything the hard way. And that's why Proverbs says it's more valuable than silver, gold, and rubies. So the lesson of today's message is wisdom is choosing discipline now so you don't have to suffer later. Because feelings will always change, the culture will always shift, but wisdom is what's going to keep you standing. Now, if this video helped you, please press subscribe, please press like, and drop in a comment one area you need more wisdom in, whether it be relationship, money, or self-control. As always, I hope this message helped at least one person. I will be back at you again tomorrow with another one. Until then, I need you to keep your head on a swivel, love yourself, and only help who wants to be helped. I love y'all. I'm out!